All right, polls show that Obama is struggling with white voters. Let's see what's going on here. Just read this today in the National Journal online. It says the latest Pew Research Center national poll released today underscores how slender a beachhead President Obama has established among whites more than 2 years into his presidency. In his 2008 election, Obama ran well among two groups of whites, young people and white women with at least a 4-year college education. Two groups that are generally receptive to government activism. In the 2010 GOP Republican landslide, those groups stuck with Democrats relatively more loyally than the rest of the white electorate. But the party support tumbled even among them. All right, so Obama is losing support among white voters who supported him by about 43% in 2008. His smallest percentage of support among white voters is white men without college education. So let's see what the problem is. If you're white and you listen to this video, I'd like you to contact me either through Facebook, Sherman Crockett, or through ShermanCrockett.com. You can read the article that I wrote about this on ShermanCrockett.com. I'm going to read a short thing that I wrote after I read the article, and then you can respond. I'm open to anybody responding, but especially if you're white, whether you voted for Obama in 2008 or not. Let me know how you feel about this. If you have buyer's remorse, if you voted for him in 2008 and you feel that you made a mistake, or if you didn't vote for him and you plan to vote for him in 2012, or if you didn't vote for him and you never would vote for him, whatever, I'd like to hear from you. But listen to what I said here. I said, give whites credit for at least trying in 2008 to overcome their historical racism. But we have to also admit that Obama was not your typical African American, as Harry Reid so eloquently reminded us. Remember, Harry Reid said Obama doesn't have a Negro dialect, and he said a few other things, and that was a big controversy a little bit over a year ago. Plus the fact that half of Obama's family is white put many whites at ease with him, although the same can really be said for millions of African Americans. I can show you a picture of my great-grandmother, my maternal great-grandmother, and she could pass for a white woman. So, a lot of us, we're all just one big tribe, so to speak. But Obama's family was obviously half white because his mother was white, his grandmother, the Dunham family, etc., his grandfather, etc. And that put a lot of white people at ease with Obama. And I understand that. That's a cultural thing. It's a historical cultural thing. I understand that. If unemployment stays at 8% or below, Obama should be pretty safe. With unemployment right now, I think it's about 8.9, something like that. If it can come down to 8, and especially if it comes below 8, I think he'll be pretty safe. But if it goes back up into the high 9, 10, if it goes above 10, into the 11 range, etc., he's in big trouble. I don't care if you're white, black, Latino, Asian, all of the above, multicultural. When that unemployment, because people vote their pocketbooks, and people vote their pocketbooks. It's not just a race thing. People vote economics, and that unemployment is up. And we know that 10% unemployment really means, among certain groups, that means 16, 19, 20% unemployment. But the official figure nationwide, about right now, I think it's about 8.9, something like that. All right. So if it stays in the 8, below 8, if it gets below 8, especially if it can get down to 7, 6 point something, he'll be in good shape unless something really drastic happens. All right. So if unemployment stays at 8% or below, he should be pretty safe, as long as there isn't another 9/11. Now, if we get another 9/11, especially if we get it, say, 6 months, 3 months before the election in 2012, November of 2012, and Republicans pounce on that Obama's soft on terrorism, and then they start mixing in the terrorist trials at Guantanamo, and Obama wanted to have them in New York. You know how that game is played. If we have another 9/11, then that could create a problem, or it could work to his advantage. A lot of times people don't want to go with something new when we're in the midst of a national crisis. So if we do have another terrorist attack, God forbid, that could work in his favor. And I hate to talk like that. I don't want it to seem like I'm hoping that, because I'm certainly not, because that was a tragic event. All right, but as for the white male, especially those without college degrees, their mindset is such that to vote overwhelmingly for an African American is anathema. They're white men without a college education as a group. They've got a certain mindset where they're not comfortable with an African American, even if half of his family is white. Just being honest with you. And the same thing would go for other cultures. If you have a college degree, if you're educated, if your income is a certain level, people think in certain ways. If your income is $300,000 a year as opposed to $30,000 a year, people think in certain ways according to their income, what they've been exposed to in life, etc. We just have to admit that. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Indian, all of the above, etc. We think in certain ways. African Americans who make $500,000 a year have a different mindset than African Americans who make $20,000 a year. It's a different mindset. We just have to admit that. And if we don't admit that, we're being naive. All right? Okay, now let's mention some of these Republican would-be candidates who are out there. All right? Okay. Obama has a much better chance of being reelected than those Republicans out there now. Let's mention some of them. Donald Trump. He's been in the news lately. Are you kidding? He still insists that Obama wasn't born here. Facts to the contrary. Now you may say, oh, he's just blowing smoke, publicity, etc. Okay, could be. But imagine if he becomes president and there's another Cuban Missile Crisis for all of you old heads like I am. If you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis in '62, we had this photographic evidence taken from U-2 spy planes over Cuba that the Russians were installing nuclear-tipped missiles in Cuba. Now imagine that Donald Trump is the president and we have another crisis like that, whether Cuba or Iran or Afghanistan or Mexico or wherever. And suppose he receives evidence that the threat is no longer existent. All right. If he adopts this same mindset that he's adopting now, where he's presented with facts and he still ignores it, then that doesn't bode well for us. You think there was radiation coming out of Japan because of the earthquake? If Donald Trump is allowed to push that button, or if his hair gets in the way and his hair accidentally pushes that nuclear button, we're going to have some problems. Okay. All right. Obama has a much better chance, as I said. Are you kidding? I said, Trump still insists that Obama was born here. Facts to the contrary. You may say that's no big deal, but translate that to another Cuban Missile Crisis. Imagine receiving intelligence which says that the Russians have pulled their missiles out of X country, only to have Trump ignore the facts, brush his hair. I'm getting on his hair because I don't have any, and begin to push the button. Now let's go to Haley Barbour, governor of Mississippi. I don't know. Some people said Jimmy Carter never would be president back in the 70s when this farmer from Plains, former governor of Georgia, said that he wanted to be president. A lot of people laughed. So anything is possible. I mean, when the Saints won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, it was like the heavens opened and angels ascended with harps, right? All right, Haley Barbour. I don't know. That would be like continually watching 4 to 8 years of In the Heat of the Night reruns if Haley Barbour became president. I mean, this guy has all but denied the atrocities of what went on in Mississippi in the 60s. It was like he was living in another world, which he was. It was like he said, it wasn't really that bad. It wasn't that bad. Well, if you were from Mississippi and you were African American and you were in Mississippi in the 60s, it was that bad. Let's just go to Philadelphia, Mississippi, and we've got some graves over there that can attest to that, and many other places. But anyway, that's Haley Barbour. Okay, all right. Let's go to the next one. Michelle Bachmann. This is the lady who gave a speech in New Hampshire, and she started talking about how the Revolutionary War began there, Concord, Bunker Hill. Now, if she's going to be president, she needs to maybe do some online courses in geography, because as president, you kind of need to have a fixation on where you are, especially when it pertains to your own country. I can see you not understanding things about Uzbekistan, Turkestan, maybe a few of those stands over there. But If you're in New Hampshire and you think you're in Massachusetts, and I can understand if you've been campaigning for 6 months and in 8 different time zones, etc., and people get tired. I understand that. That happens to people who travel a lot, musicians and athletes. I understand that. But she seems to have a problem with the geography situation. So if she becomes president, she might bomb Russia thinking that she's bombing Iran. Or she might bomb, uh, Iraq thinking she's bombing Mexico. And I know I'm being facetious here, but she's got to get her geography in order here. I know she's a Tea Party favorite. Tea Party loves her. They've kind of replaced Sarah Palin with Michelle Bachmann, Republican Congresswoman from Minnesota. Tim Paul. I can't say Tim Paullini's name without falling asleep. I'm sorry. I don't claim to be the most exciting guy in the world. All right, but every time I think of Tim Paulini, I fall asleep. Sorry, Tim. I'm sorry, Tim, but you might surprise me, but I don't know. Okay, Mitt Romney. I don't know. He looked like a slick Willie to me. Too slick, too little, too late, and he's going to spend most of his time trying to run away from Romney Care, which was the basis for Obamacare. I call it Romney Obamacare. I don't think so. All right? Okay. Sarah Palin, she's too much of a bomb thrower. It's like she's got a chip on her shoulder. It's like you can't be president and be a bomb thrower. You can be in the House of Representatives, maybe to a certain extent in the Senate, local politics, that local town hall meeting stuff. You can be a bomb. You cannot be president. Imagine if JFK had been a bomb thrower. You can't be president. That's the main reason I voted for Barack Obama. Yeah, he's African American, and we were all excited about that, just like Catholics, Roman Catholics, Irish Catholics especially, were excited about JFK. So Sean Hannity, he complains African Americans voted for Obama because he's African American. Well, okay, that was part of it. But Irish Catholics voted for JFK because he's Irish Catholic. A lot of women supported Hillary because of the historic ramifications of her candidacy. So Sean Hannity and all these people, all these Obama haters, etc. Yeah, all right, African American, but that's not the only reason I voted for him. I voted for Barack Obama, I would say 70% because of his temperament. He has the temperament for the job. John McCain did not have the temperament to be president of the United States. He didn't have the temperament. Senator from Arizona, no problem. President of the United States, John McCain did not have the temperament. Barack Obama has the temperament to be president of the United States. All right, so Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and all Laura Ingraham and all you Foxophiles, you need to get off your high horse. Blowing all that smoke about African Americans only support Obama because he's African American. That's not the only reason we support him, but the fact that he's African American, obviously, that is important. The historical ramifications of his presidency. Yes, we went to the inauguration and stood out in the freezing Washington, D.C. January 20th weather to watch this man be sworn in. Lord help us, the Chief Justice screwed up the 2 lines that it took to swear Barack Hussein Obama into the White House. But yes, the fact that he's African American, yes, important. Yes, I don't deny that. But most African Americans did not vote for him just because he's African American. I can tell you, African Americans, we don't just, because you're African American, you don't get a free pass. If you don't come correct, just like at the Apollo, they're going to put that hook out there on you at the Apollo Theater in Harlem. If your act is not right, they're going to put the hook out on you. All right. So yes, but he has the temperament for the job. There are other African Americans who don't have the temperament for the job. I believe Shirley Chisholm had the temperament for the job. Shirley Chisholm, African American Congresswoman from Harlem. She ran for the presidency, I believe, in the early 70s. May have been during the 72 campaign. I can't remember. She passed away a few years ago. She put some cracks in that glass ceiling that Hillary Clinton talked about at the end of her campaign in 2008. Yes, okay. But anyway, you've got to have a certain temperament. I don't have the temperament to be president of the United States. I don't claim to. I do not have the temperament to be president of the United States. Okay. See that finger right there? Don't mess with me. What? Huh? What? I don't have to. We'll all be glowing in the dark. I don't have the temperament. I don't claim to. Bobby Jindal. I haven't seen Bobby Jindal since he gave the Republican response to the President Obama's first major speech. It wasn't the State of the Union. It was a speech before the State of the Union where Obama addressed a joint session of Congress. And you know how when one party gives the speech, the other party gives the opposition the response. Well, they chose Bobby Jindal, governor of Louisiana, Indian American, a rising star in the Republican Party, a conservative, maybe even a Tea Party favorite. But I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him since that speech. Anybody here seen old Bobby Jindal? Can you tell me where he's gone? Yeah, what? Bobby? Oh, Bobby, ¿dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás, amigo? You know, where are you? Where in the world is Bobby Jindal? Yeah, I haven't seen him. Maybe he's out. You know, maybe they're concocting a master plan, a comeback. He's kind of like Sarah Palin. I haven't seen Sarah Palin since the Gabrielle Giffords shooting in Arizona. You know, she said something that stirred up some controversy. She being Sarah Palin. Haven't seen her, so she's kind of on the down low also. Right, but I haven't seen Bobby Jindal in over a year. He's like, you know, I guess you got to go to Baton Rouge to find him or something like that. I know we saw him during the Gulf, or no, I'm wrong. We did see him during the Gulf oil spill, the BP oil spill, because he's governor of Louisiana, and he was, you know, the same guy who was talking about big government, big government, big government. Where President Obama needs to get down here and take care of business and blah blah. You know, is it big government or not? Is the government too big or not? You say big government, then when something happens, you want the government from Washington to respond to the situation. You know, I mean, is the government too large or not? That's another argument though for another day. All right, let's see, who else do we have here? So we did Bobby Jindal, Marco Rubio, Cuban American, just won the Senate race in Florida. A rising star in the Republican Party, a rising star with the Tea Party. Can he become president? Possibly, probably not yet though. But here are his main obstacles. He would have trouble garnering African American votes if Obama's running, which Obama has declared his candidacy again. Obama's going to get 93 to 95% of the African American vote. Okay, you can just. Sorry, I mean, he's going to get it. You're going to get some blacks. You got a lot of blacks who are Republicans, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm thinking about becoming an independent myself. I'm a liberal, moderate, conservative Democrat. I'm a liberal, moderate, conservative Democrat. But I've been thinking about becoming an independent because sometimes the Democrats disgust me, right? And Republican, I could do that, but I don't know. But anyway, you're not going to get the African American vote away from Obama. You would have to find out that he was involved in Dr. King's assassination or something as, you know, stupid. You know, you're not going to get the African American vote away from Obama. It's not going to happen. Okay, you would really have to find out something egregious. You would have to find out that he you know, worked with the White Citizens Council and conspired against the Civil Rights Movement. You know, something like that. And even still, he would still get over 50% of the African American vote. But I'm being facetious here. He's going to get 93 to 95, I'm going to say, percent of the African American vote. So Marco Rubio, that's his first problem. His second problem, he's not going to get the liberal white vote. He's a conservative Cuban American Tea Party favorite. He's not going to get the latte liberal, the limousine liberal crowd. He's not going to get the limousine liberals to vote for him because he's a conservative Latino Tea Party favorite. He's not going to get the liberal white vote. He's not going to get the African American vote. Okay, and he's not going to get the liberal, the moderate to liberal, maybe some moderates. He's not going to get the liberal Latino vote, and he's Latino, Cuban American. All right, so he's not going to get the African American vote. He's not going to get the liberal white vote, the limousine Nancy Pelosi, the liberal latte Starbucks liberal white vote, and he's not going to get the liberal Latino vote. All right, so I just gave you the major contenders in the Republican Party. And there's some other ones out there. Mitch Daniels, governor of Indiana. There's some other ones out there who could rise up, you know, at the last minute, so to speak. I don't see anybody that I mentioned beating. I didn't mention Newt Gingrich. I meant to mention him. I meant to mention Newt Gingrich and forgot to. I don't think Newt Gingrich will become president again. Only God knows the future. I don't know the future. Uh, and it's not just his personal baggage. He's got some personal baggage, but then we all do. Yeah. He doesn't appeal to. You've got to appeal to a pretty wide spectrum of people to be president. See, congressmen from Georgia's 12th district or whatever, that's one thing. You know, Sarah Palin could become a congresswoman or a senator, let's say from the state of Alaska or Arizona or one of those states, something like, or Georgia, right? A relatively conservative state, something like that, right? A state in the South, Texas, something like that. You know, Ron Paul, uh, country maybe, something like that, right? But when you're talking about president, you have to appeal to gays, straight, black, white, Latino, Asian. You got to appeal to uh, voters from age 18 up to 98. And Newt Gingrich, he does not have that broad base appeal. It's not there. It's not. Plus, he's a bomb thrower. He's not a bomb thrower like Sarah Palin, but he is a bomb thrower, right? And there are a lot of conservative whites who are not going to vote for him. He's in his third marriage, and his first marriage, I do believe it was, the word is, and it's public knowledge, that he served his wife divorce papers while she was dying of cancer. That doesn't play well. That people get divorced. It's not just a divorce issue, although that's part of it with your more conservative, let's say evangelical Christians, especially evangelical white Christians, right? But you serve your wife with divorce papers while she's dying of cancer. That indicates there's something in the heart there. And you know, the heart is a desperate thing. You know, it's desperately wicked. Jeremiah, the prophet, said the heart is desperately wicked. And who can know it? So all of our hearts have the potential for wickedness. All right. So that I'm not sitting on the seat of pontification there, right? But you know, when you serve your wife, that was kind of like the John Edwards. And your wife is dying of cancer, and you're making plans for your next move while your wife is struggling to beat cancer. So the big C. And we can only look back and say thank you, Barack Obama, for not choosing Senator John Edwards, because that would have upset the apple cart, right? But anyway, I didn't mention Newt Gingrich here. I would have if I had thought about it when I made it. Anyway, go to ShermanCrockett.com. You can read my article. What I'm saying about that. I'm gonna post this video here on Facebook as soon as I get finished with it, and go ahead and listen to it. And I want anybody to respond, but especially if you're white. Tell us how you're feeling about it, because the election is coming sooner than you think, November of 2012. And as a matter of fact, like I said, the president has kicked off his election campaign, and no Republicans have formally declared yet. Everybody's kind of hinting. Newt Gingrich, I think, has a fundraiser April 13th or something like that, and Donald Trump he's blowing smoke, etc. But no Republicans have formally declared yet. All right, but President Obama has declared that he is running in 2012. All right, so let me know. If you're white, especially, let me know. If you're enchanted with Obama, disenchanted, just be honest. Let me know. I'm gonna post this on Facebook in the next 15 minutes or so. All right. This is your political animal signing off, and be sure to again go to my website, Sherman Crockett. That's with 2 T's, ShermanCrockett.com, and read my articles that I've written in the last few days, and you can read anything from the past if you want to. And I'll be posting much more in the days and weeks to come. God bless you all. Take care. Obama 212. All right.